Caitlin Clark makes Chris Paul squirm with a bold question that catches everyone off guard. A bold question stuns Chris Paul. There are moments in sports culture that instantly grab your attention not because of a highlight, not because of a buzzer beater, but because of an interaction so unexpected you can't look away. That's exactly what happened when Caitlin Clark confronted Chris Paul with a question that made the NBA legend visibly uncomfortable. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but the look on Paul's face said everything. Clark didn't hesitate. She fired off a bold, almost dangerous question, the kind that makes the room pause for a second, and Paul's reaction immediately became the talking point. A mix of surprise, tension, and that awkward half-smile athletes make when they know they've been cornered. The moment spread fast, catching fans off guard just as much as it caught Paul. Caitlin put CP3 on the spot. As people replayed the clip trying to figure out how serious the moment was, Clark knew exactly what she was doing. And Chris Paul couldn't avoid the heat of the question, even if he tried. Chris simply wasn't ready for someone to hit him with that topic. The entire exchange, from the tension to the stare to Paul's uncomfortable reaction, is all part of the new State Farm commercial starring both of them. A scripted moment designed to feel real, and it worked almost too well. In the ad, Paul gets bombarded by people asking the question he hates the most: when are you retiring? Clark's version is the sharpest of all, delivered with perfect timing, perfect tone, and the exact level of intensity needed to make viewers wonder if it was real. And while Paul never answers inside the commercial, sources close to him have indicated he will retire after this season, his 21st in the NBA. Chris Paul's resume speaks for itself: 12-time All-Star, 11 All-NBA selections, and member of the NBA's 75th anniversary team. But even legends get hit with uncomfortable questions, sometimes especially when Caitlin Clark is the one asking. And now fans are left wondering, was it just a commercial? Or did Caitlin Clark say what the entire basketball world has been thinking? The ballroom at the Phoenix Grand Resort hummed with the low, steady buzz reserved for events where stars from two different worlds collide. It was the annual Legends and Leaders Summit, an off-season gathering where NBA veterans, WNBA stars, and corporate partners spent one weekend pretending they weren't all secretly evaluating each other's competitive aura. Caitlin Clark, fresh off a whirlwind rookie season that had turned the WNBA into a national appointment, walked into the venue as naturally as if she'd grown up in it. Cameras swiveled toward her like magnetized satellites. Reporters whispered. Even the event staff leaned in just a bit more. But none of that compared to the way Chris Paul, 12-time All-Star, point guard philosopher, and unofficial mayor of always composed city, straightened his blazer when she approached the stage. Tonight's panel: point guard genius across generations. Chris Paul, Sue Bird, Steve Nash on Zoom, and Caitlin Clark. For basketball brains. One stage. Zero room for predictable answers. The moderator, a cheerful media personality who clearly feared being overshadowed by literally anyone on stage, went through the warm-up, passing decisions, leadership, late-game poise. Standard basketball talk, the kind everyone could answer sleepwalking. Then came the moment. The moderator grinned at the crowd. For our next segment, we'll let the players ask each other a question. Sue Bird lobbed a softball at Nash. Nash lobbed one back at CP3. CP3 asked Caitlin something about adjusting to the physicality of the league. Then the mic returned to Caitlin. She twirled it like she was about to call out a defensive switch. "All right, Chris," she said, leaning forward. "I've got one." The room sharpened. Cameras zoomed. Chris Paul nodded, smiling politely, until Caitlin's eyes narrowed with that trademark Clark mischief that meant she was about to shoot from the logo, metaphorically, this time. "So," she said, "you're known for controlling the floor, controlling your teammates, controlling refs, controlling basically everything." Laughter erupted. Even Chris grinned modestly. Caitlin continued, "But I've always wondered, of all the moments in your career, which one wasn't part of the plan? Which moment actually made you lose control?" And the room went silent. The mischievous half-smile on Caitlin's face told everyone she knew exactly what she was doing, challenging the man famous for precision to expose a moment of weakness. Chris Paul froze for a fraction of a second. Not long, but long enough for the basketball nerds to gasp. Long enough for the crowd to shift forward in their seats. Long enough for Cunningham, sitting in the third row, to elbow Lexi Hull and whisper, "Oh, she got him good." CP3 ran a hand down his face. "His universal signal for you really gonna make me answer this?" "Wow," he finally murmured. "You came to play." Caitlin shrugged. "Just curious." But the audience could feel it. This wasn't playful anymore. This was the passing of the torch, a generational challenge wrapped in a question not even the most decorated veterans liked answering, the moment when composure cracked. CP3 looked at the ceiling, exhaling through his nose. "All right, you want it real?" "Always," Caitlin replied. "Okay," he said. "Honestly?" Game 6. 2018, Rockets vs. Warriors. Western Conference Finals. The crowd murmured, the wounds still fresh for nearly everyone who lived through that basketball era. Chris continued, "We had them. We actually had them. And when I felt the pull in my hamstring, I knew. I knew we'd lose the series. I knew everything we worked for. No control. Nothing I could do." His voice wasn't shaky, but it wasn't smooth either. It was the voice of a man revisiting a memory he kept tucked away for a reason. The room felt it. Caitlin felt it. And maybe that's why she leaned in, her competitive fire softening into something more human. "That's the part no one teaches you," she said quietly. "What to do when your control runs out." Chris gave her a long look, one that said he recognized a young version of himself hiding behind her poise. "Yeah," he said. "That part comes for everyone." The moderator, sensing the shift from playful to profound, attempted to jump in, but Chris held up a finger. "And since we're doing bold questions," he said, turning the tables, "let me ask you something back." Caitlin smirked. "Go ahead." Chris leaned toward her. "When did you lose control this season?" The crowd hummed. Sue Bird's eyebrows rose. Nash leaned closer to his webcam. The spotlight had rotated. Caitlin laughed softly. "That's fair." Then she paused, gathering herself. "First road game in New York. Fourth quarter. They blitzed me. I missed 2 open looks. Threw a pass into the 6th row. For about 30 seconds I thought, maybe I don't belong here." The audience stirred. The statement felt both enormous and intimate. Chris nodded slowly. "And then what?" Caitlin lifted her chin, smiling. "Then I hit from the logo on the next possession." The room exploded in laughter and applause. A release valve after one of the rawest exchanges in Summit history. Chris shook his head. "That's cold." "You started it," Caitlin said. "You asked the question. You froze first." That set the crowd off again. Sue Bird leaned into her mic. "I swear, this is why point guards run the world. Too dramatic.